Okay, Montreal Canadiens fans, here we go. So we have about 7 or 8 days. It's on the 27th, the draft is. So we are looking at, I'm keeping a very, very close eye on the Montreal Canadiens. We have several rumors to go over today, but it's going to get way, way deeper than that. Now, just to reiterate, my beliefs are that the number one thing that the Habs need is a center, of course. I think that they do need some size. I wouldn't mind them getting some more edge, perhaps touching up their blue line. Some depth in goaltending would be nice. Like, I understand that they have Dobish and, I like Montembeault, but I would like to see them more add a solidified NHL quality goalie to go with Montembeault. I think that if they have a good offseason, they can make the playoffs 100%. Like, the Atlantic is very, very, it's I think, the most competitive division in hockey, but that doesn't mean that should scare you away. So right off the bat, question of the video, what do you think that they need to do, and what do you think that they will end up doing? Let's remind ourselves that the Montreal Canadiens have 2 first-round selections, which is awesome. So I'm kind of torn between, okay, do they keep their selections, and do they draft a center, which I think that they probably will. They'll probably look for a guy that can play center in the future. That's what a lot of teams are probably going to be doing. Or do they use those picks to trade for one? Who knows if they'll be able to do that. I think that if they do initiate a trade, they will have to overpay for that center, though, in the trade market, which worries me. Or number 3, do they go to the unrestricted free agent market? We did get a really interesting quote from Darren Dreger that, quote, the Montreal Canadiens are now officially open for business and they have tons of assets to spend. I don't know if you guys saw the Mason Marchment trade. He got traded to the Kraken for like a 3rd and a 4th. I understand Marchment isn't a center, but as I said, I would love to see the Habs get more size. I was thinking, like, why didn't the Habs get into that? Like, I would have been completely fine with Mason Marchment being on the Canadiens. That would have added more size. He's a guy that can pot 50 points, a guy that can show up in the playoffs, or a playoff-style player. I don't know. I just thought I would mention that. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that was a hell of a trade. Honestly, at this point, I'm kind of leaning to the Habs might keep one of their picks, and they might trade one. That's probably what I'm thinking. And that might be a good, smart in-between. Just trade one. You can still stock your cupboard with a very good, quality first-round player. This draft is known as being a little bit weaker. Now, I don't want that to scare some people. That you can still get really good players. I mean, there's tons of players. Ryan O'Reilly was drafted in the 2nd round. Patrice Bergeron, 2nd round. Braden Point. A lot of these guys went later, so you can absolutely still get finds, even if it is a weaker draft. Now, for the second very, very interesting rumor, we did get news that Claude Giroux is interested in possibly signing with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, a lot of people are pushing back on this, but I'm going to kind of disagree with them. A lot of people are saying, well, Claude Giroux is currently in contract negotiations with the Ottawa Senators, which is true. That's true. And I understand that he might be using the Montreal Canadiens as what's called a negotiating ploy, essentially saying, hey, I might go there, I might go there. But again, why wouldn't he consider going to the Montreal Canadiens? Let's not forget that Claude Giroux was actually a really important player for the Ottawa Senators. He at the age of 37 scored 50 points for them. He played in the QMJHL. He's from Hearst, Ontario, which is a francophone part of Ontario. Like, people are saying, oh, this is just a negotiating ploy. This is just... No, I don't actually think that's true. I absolutely think that he would consider signing with the Montreal Canadiens. Now, interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure he plays like a little bit more wing. I'm pretty sure he bounces back and forth. I wonder what he would be on the Montreal Canadiens. If the Canadiens would want to shift him to center or something like that, I think at his age he's much better at wing. I just think that once players get a certain age, it's kind of difficult to consistently play them down the middle. Let's keep in mind that Claude Giroux, the best thing about him is that he is known for being durable and consistent. He's had 12 50-point plus seasons in a row now. Like, that's very, very consistent. So don't tell me that's something that the Habs wouldn't need. Of course they would. And let's be clear, if you have an older player that's 37 years old, and if you look at his stats in the past 3 years, he's only missed one game. 82 games, 82 games, 81 games. So this is a player that you're getting durable. He's probably going to pop 50 points off. Why wouldn't the Habs be interested? I would be disappointed if they would say no to this. Like, I think that they should move ahead with this for sure. You know what? Ultimately, though, when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens, I feel that it's going to come almost out of left field. Because when we look at center options, you might say, McTavish, the guys that everybody's talking about, the centers in the UFA market, possibly Claude Giroux if they could move him back to center at an older age. But I feel the Montreal Canadiens are almost going to just surprise everybody with a move that nobody sees coming. Now, one other interesting thing that I wanted to talk about quickly to end off this video is the possibility of a draft target for the Montreal Canadiens, Carter Bear. This is a player that the Montreal Canadiens might want to consider, and they very possibly could get him with one of their selections. Now, he had an Achilles tendon tear, but he's got top 10 to 15, selection talent. I like when organizations take swings. I want the Montreal Canadiens, if they're going to use these draft picks, take a swing. Okay, you might want to, target a certain player that you believe can play center in the NHL, but why not swing and take a swing on a guy that has top 10 to 15 talent? There is also Justin Carbonneau. Obviously, he's a big point getter in the QMJHL. I would prefer to go with Carter Bear if I was to keep one of the selections. So like I said, let's say the Habs trade one of their selections away and they use one of their selections to draft a player. For me, I would go with Carter Bear if he is available. He's even got a little bit of size. He's about 6 foot. I don't see him playing any center in the National Hockey League, obviously. I think he's winger and junior as well. So I don't see him shifting over, but I think that they should take a swing on this guy. He's got top 10 talent, so why not swing one of your picks on him? Anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.